Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our Gift of Health Tuesday Total Wellness Chats. And we have a very exciting session today. And I know like you have heard me talk about nutrition, about physical activity. So in lifestyle medicine, there are 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. And today, like we are going to talk about a very important topic. So make sure you let your friends and family members know. So this is a free session where everyone can tune in. For those of you who are meeting me for the very first time, I'm Dr. Shobha Rayapudi. I am co-founder of Gift of Health, where we actually help people struggling with chronic diseases, including but not limited to high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart disease, arthritis, diabetes, and other chronic conditions to break free from those chronic conditions, reduce their dependency on medications, and have more energy. And today's topic is the effect of sleep on weight loss. Right, like when you think of weight loss, you think of okay, am I taking care of my nutrition? Like, am I following the diet properly? But there is one more aspect which most of the people miss when it comes to weight loss. And today, let us let us dwell more and see like how our weight loss can be affected, especially people who are struggling with weight loss. Let's see like what can actually cause it. So what I'm going to do is let me share my screen, and hopefully you guys are able to see my screen. So what is the connection between sleep and obesity? So we wonder, right? So imagine like you had a factory that you ran 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year, without adequate downtime, without scheduling any maintenance, and without any repairs. What would happen? Like, would you be surprised if the factory had problems with maintaining its production? In fact, it is likely that you would expect that if you ran this way, there would be some problem in the production. So in order to prevent its breakdown, it's likely that you would schedule maintenance, you would set up regular repairs, and from time to time, you would schedule some maintenance, right? That's what you would do. So in order to get the full functionality of the factory. But imagine what happens if we don't schedule that downtime. Like what would happen? So I mean, for you, okay. So for you, it makes sense that like you schedule the maintenance and repair. But what would happen if you ran your body 24/7 without sleep or without adequate rest? So let me ask you this. How many hours of rest do you need in the first place? So it depends upon your age, obviously. So let's say if you are a baby, if infants like 4 months to 12 months, they at least need 12 to 16 hours of sleep per day. And children who are 1 to 2 years old, they need at least 11 to 14 hours of sleep per day. And children who are 3 to 5 years of age, they at least need 10 to 13 hours of sleep. And children who are 6 to 12 years, they need 9 to 12 hours of sleep. And if you're a teenager, especially from 13 years to 18 years of age, you need at least 8 to 10 hours per day. And if you're adult above 18 years, you need at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep per day. So are we getting enough sleep? So if you are an adult, so are you getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep? So you might be wondering, okay, maybe I'm not getting 8 hours of sleep. So maybe I'm just getting 1 hour of, maybe I'm just losing 1 hour of sleep. So what's the big deal if I just lose 1 hour of sleep per day? Can you guys guess like what would happen if you just lose 1 hour of sleep? Any idea? And this is something we see every year whenever our clock goes back, whenever we have the daylight saving time. So just 1 hour has big consequences. So the daylight saving, so in spring, when people lose just 1 hour of sleep, heart attacks go up to by 24%. And in fall, when we gain 1 hour, actually heart attacks drop by 21%. So this is a compelling demonstration of how even a single hour of sleep loss can trigger fatal cardiovascular events. So what would happen if you just lost 2 hours of sleep? Okay. So when you lose 2 hours of sleep, so did you know that like just sleeping 6 hours or less per night is associated with gaining 10 to 15 pounds per year? That's a big chunk of weight gain. And what happens when you lose 3 hours of sleep? So if you're just sleeping 5 hours or less per night for just 6 nights, I mean, just 1 week, if you do this, it's you develop pre-diabetes if you're just having 5 hours or less. And if I were to tell you like this is the amazing breakthrough, like scientists have discovered a new treatment that makes you live longer, enhances your memory, makes you more creative, makes you look more attractive, keeps you slim, lowers food cravings, protects you from cancer and dementia, lots of cold and flu, lowers your risk of heart attacks and strokes, not to mention diabetes. You will feel happier, less depressed, and less anxious. So what would you say? Like you can get all of those things. So would you be interested in this pill? Like if I sold you a pill and said that it can do all of these things, like you might go crazy and you might be interested to get that pill, like no matter what. But nature has already provided that drug to us. But how many of us take that seriously or respect that? Like we are so, I mean, used to thinking that, okay, I need to complete this one more task. I need to complete this, which is on my to-do list, and we compromise our sleep. So my question is, are you respecting your need of sleep? Are you honoring that? Or are you doing things in a way that respects your need of sleep without compromising your health or without compromising your time and other people's time? And if you can see, like sleep is the mother of all lifestyle habits. If you sleep well, you would notice that you eat better, you move more, you have more energy, you feel happier. But have you noticed, like when you don't get enough sleep, no matter how big your intentions are, how noble your intentions are, if you didn't get a good sleep previous night, have you noticed how hard it is for you to exercise, how hard it is for you to eat right? And when you lose sleep for a couple days, you could see that your exercise goes down the drain, your eating falls off the wagon. So sleep is rightly called the mother of all lifestyle pillars. So you might be wondering, okay, maybe I'm getting enough sleep. Let us do a small quiz just to see that, like, if you are getting enough sleep. Okay, so I'm just going to ask you a few questions. It's a yes and no answer, so you could just either type in the chat or raise your hand and see for yourself, like if it's a yes or no. So the first question is, do you fall asleep while watching TV? The second question is, do you fall asleep if reading quietly in the afternoon? Do you drift off in afternoon meetings? Or do you sleep when you are a passenger in the car? So if you answered yes to any of this question, that means you're not getting enough restorative sleep. So since this session is about like how sleep loss can affect weight loss, so you might be wondering how much we sleep and how much we weigh, is it related? So researchers have now recognized that inadequate sleep is a major contributing factor to global rise in obesity and type 2 diabetes. And we have seen this like earlier, like even like few years back or 50 or 100 years back, when we used to see the number of people who are overweight is quite different when we compare the statistics today. And obviously, like obesity or overweight, it costs the global economy over 2 trillion every year. And type 2 diabetes, it racks up $375 billion in healthcare cost every year. And 1 in 3 adult worldwide is overweight. So you can see like this is really drastic. Like we all know the advice that eat well, exercise regularly, and you will be healthier and lose weight. But there's a third often overlooked pillar of health, which might be just as vital, which is sleep. So emerging research in the field of neuroscience and metabolic health has revealed a powerful link between how much we sleep and how much we weigh. So, how our body handles sugar and our risk of developing type 2 diabetes, it also depends upon like how much we sleep. So, let us see like how sleep loss affects all of this. Okay, so let's break it down. So they did this study in University of Chicago. So what researchers did is they ran a series of studies. They took healthy adults and they asked them to either sleep for 8.5 hours or sleep for 4.5 to 5 hours per week. Okay, so they took healthy adults and for 1 week, I mean, this experiment was just done for 1 week. And so a group of people were sleeping for 8.5 hours, and other group of people were sleeping for 5 hours. And both the groups, they received the same meals, they received the same physical activity levels. And what the researchers did is they measured their hunger hormones. And what they found is just in 2 days, like it doesn't take long, just in 2 days, people who slept less, they noticed that their hunger hormones went up. So there are two types of hormones in our body, leptin and ghrelin. So leptin actually tells your brain that you are full, and ghrelin tells your brain that you are hungry. So for people like who had only 5 hours of sleep, what they noticed is their leptin levels dropped, whereas their hunger hormone ghrelin levels went up. So people were actually feeling more hungry and they were also feeling less full. So whenever you are sleep deprived, even though you have eaten the same amount of food, you actually feel less full. And this researchers, they did some follow-up studies. So instead of like giving meals, what they did is they did it buffet style, all you can eat buffet style. And they also included a snack bar. And what they noticed is even after consuming 2000 calories, so since people were allowed to as much all you can eat buffet, so they noticed that like even though people consume 2000 calories, the participants who were sleep deprived, they actually ate 300 calories more compared to people who had adequate sleep. So you might be wondering why. So why people with less sleep? So what happens is your brain chemistry changes when you lack sleep. So short sleep, it actually increases endocannabinoids. It's nothing but a same brain chemical that is activated by cannabis. So when what this chemical does in our bodies, so this chemical actually heightens the craving for high fat, high salt, high sugary foods and snacks. So shorter sleep is just equal to bigger waistline. And not only that, what researchers did is they scanned the brains of people who had full night of sleep, and again they scanned their brain after sleep deprivation. So in this brain imaging study, what researchers found that people who were sleep deprived, they actually desired 600 extra calories of junk food. So what was done here is, like, each time the participant was shown the foods, and they were asked to rate how much they wanted each kind of food. Okay, so the results were, in sleep deprived participants, the prefrontal cortex, which is the decision making part of our brain, was less active after poor sleep, whereas the deep brain reward center was hyperactive. So technically what happens is people crave high calorie foods and rated them as more desirable. So on average, sleep deprived individuals, they desired 600 calories of 600 extra calories of junk food. Not only this, when we look at our gut, so we your gut has its own nervous system, which we call as the enteric nervous system. And sleep plays a vital role in maintaining this enteric system and maintaining the gut health microbiome. So when you don't get enough sleep, what happens is your stress hormones goes up, and the fight or flight system, it stays activated. And when this happens, this actually encourages the growth of unhealthy gut bacteria. And over time, this unhealthy gut bacteria can impair the nutrient absorption, your gastrointestinal health, and overall immune function. So you might be wondering, okay, we can see that, like, if we are losing our sleep, we might eat more. But what if I try to eat less? What if I restrict my calories? So, and this is what they tested as well. So this was again a 2-week study. They took overweight adults and they divided the group. So one group was sleeping 5.5 hours and another group was sleeping for 8.5 hours. And they were on a low calorie diet. So what they noticed is both the group lost weight, but in different ways. So people who were in the short sleep cycle, guess what? They lost muscles, whereas the group that was able to sleep for 8.5 hours, they actually lost fat. So even though if you are losing sleep, you are losing muscle. You're not losing fat, like even when you restrict calories. So the moral of the story is sleep deprived weight loss is inefficient and detrimental to muscle tone. And what happens in the kids? So it has been shown that sleep neglect doesn't only affect adults, but in children, especially 3 years old, when they sleep less than 10.5 hours, they were 45% more likely to be obese by age 7. And sleep patterns formed early in life have lasting metabolic consequences. And not only weight gain, so there are other ways like how you can gain weight. One is sleep also disrupts your metabolic function. When, you eat something. So how does your body handle sugar? So like when you eat, your blood sugar goes up, your pancreas respond by releasing insulin. So that's a hormone that tells your cell open up and absorb the sugar. So the cells create openings on their surface to soak up the glucose. Now imagine if the same person has poor sleep. So what happens when you don't sleep enough? So your body actually enters into a state of insulin resistance. So the cells, they stop responding to insulin. So sugar remains in the bloodstream. You become hyperglycemic. So like this was a study done at the University of Chicago. So where the researchers, they restricted healthy adults to just 4 hours of sleep for just 6 nights. And guess what? Their ability to absorb glucose dropped by 40%. And they were classified as pre-diabetes. So when you do the blood test on them, like they had pre-diabetes. Just 6 days, within a week, you can develop pre-diabetes, like if you are having 5 hours or less of sleep for just 6 days. That's how powerful it is. And they also did follow-up studies, and what they found is sleep actually reduces insulin sensitivity at a cellular level. So the muscle biopsies reveal that sleep deprived cells, they refuse to respond to insulin, causing rising blood sugar levels. And numerous labs worldwide have replicated this phenomena. In all cases, participants, they transition from normal glucose regulation to pre-diabetic state within just a week of poor sleep. So if you're getting 5 or fewer hours of sleep, you are 2.5 times more likely to have diabetes. At the same time, if you're sleeping more than 9 hours, there is enhanced risk of developing diabetes itself. So if you look at all the factors that can cause weight gain, so here you can see that one is lack of sleep. It increases your hunger hormones. So the hunger hormones, ghrelin, is higher with sleep loss. So you feel more hungry. And you, since your leptin goes down, which is the satiety hormone, you actually feel less full and less satisfied. And also, when there is sleep loss, there is a bigger eating opportunity. So being awake longer means that there is more opportunity for eating. And sleep deprivation is associated with impulsivity and a preference for high carbohydrate processed snack foods. So you were able to see like how sleep loss increases the endocannabinoids in your brain, which actually craves for high fat, high sugar food. And also with sleep loss, you develop fatigue and mood disturbances. So in insufficient sleep, it correlates with more sedentary behavior, less motivation, and negativity and negative mood, which can cause you irritable, apathy, anxiety, and depression. And also what you would notice is sleep loss also derails your metabolism. It causes a drop in core body temperature and changes in glucose processing. Lack of sleep is a stress, so cortisol is increased and thyroid hormones can be dysregulated. So all these conditions can actually lead to reduced energy, more stress, decision fatigue, whereas the appetite and eating opportunity increases calorie intake, more eating hours, and unhealthy food choices. So ultimately, all this leads to weight gain. So you might be wondering, okay, I can see that sleep impacts a lot of things, but I don't have time to get a full night's sleep. What can I do about this? Because always you're thinking, I need to get more done. I don't have enough time per day to get enough sleep. So the truth is, you need between 7 to 8 hours of sleep to have a brain that makes good decisions, regulates emotions, and has appetite control. If you aren't sleeping enough, your productivity will suffer. And the other myth that we have is we can catch up on lost sleep. How many of you have done this? Like on the weekend, you think that I can catch up on extra sleep. So again, the truth is, while you can recover from one night of poor sleep, consistently not getting enough sleep has consequence. You cannot compensate for poor sleep habits by sleeping in on weekends. The best approach is to have a consistent sleep schedule. Okay? And the another myth is, okay, there is nothing I can do about my irregular sleep and wake times. The truth is, there is a lot you can do to compensate for the effects your obligations have on your sleep. You can take actionable steps to manage your internal sleep and wake cues, stress levels, and your environment. So, the other myth is we are not supposed to take naps. The truth is shorter naps, and when how we define nap. So if you are just sleeping 20 to 30 minutes, it's considered a nap. So it can be beneficial and improve your alertness and stress levels. But if you're sleeping longer than 30 minutes or too late in the day, can interfere with nighttime sleeping. And the other thing is, I can't turn my brain off. The only way I can get to sleep is when I take a pill. But the truth is, there is no sleeping pill that is without side effects or risk to your memory and cognitive performance. You need skills, not pills. Okay, so your cognitive performance is something you want to maintain through your entire life. So we would highly encourage you to develop skills and not rely on pills. So, okay, so now again, the question comes, why, like, why do we sleep less? Or for some of the people, like, what are the triggers for developing this poor sleep habits? So, one of the thing is going to bed at wildly different times. It triggers poor sleep habits. Getting up at different times, looking at electronic screens shortly before bedtime, and going to sleep too late to get enough sleep, changing your sleep schedule on weekends and holidays from your usual weekday sleep schedule, and not having a sleep schedule at all. Actually, these are all the triggers for poor sleep habits. And the other thing is having alcohol to wind down. A lot of people think that alcohol may help you to wind down, but actually, alcohol leads you to poor night's sleep. It affects sleep quality, making sleep too light to be restorative. Watching violent movies or TV shows right before bedtime, and if you wake up in the middle of the night to do one more thing and then have trouble getting back to sleep, and also trying to fall asleep while the TV or radio is on. And these are some more triggers like stress, feelings of overwhelm, depression, watching scary movies or TV shows right before bedtime, anxiety, worry. So, like, these are all the triggers for poor sleep habits. But let us see, like, what are the tips for good sleep? Okay. So one is timing your sleep for success. So go to bed at the same time each night, get up at the same time each morning, have a regular bedtime routine for yourself. And if you're a parent, you know how difficult it becomes if you let your children have a chaotic bedtime. Why do that to yourself? Be consistent in your bedtime and awakening time. And when it comes to your sleep environment, make sure your bedroom is completely dark and quiet before you go to bed. And while you're sleeping, make sure your bedroom is cool when you go to bed. And if the room is hot and the air is stuffy, it may be harder to sleep well. And make sure your mattress, pillow, blankets, and other bedding materials are cool and comfortable to help avoid hot flashes and uncomfortable temperatures. So you can buy blackout curtains or drapes to help keep street light or any other unwanted light. And you can sleep in your pajamas that you enjoy. and feel comfortable in, or no pajamas at all. You can also buy blackout curtains, right? And how do we manage our mind for sleep? So if you have any deadline, okay, so do any preparation for the next day in the late afternoon or early evening, so that is the day before, so you can get it done and it isn't on your mind. And meditation or praying just before bedtime also calms your mind and it soothes the mind. uh, and if you awaken in the middle of the night, it's okay to stay in bed. Don't get up and start doing things. Just lie peacefully until you fall asleep. And if you can't sleep, do get out of the bed, do something that is peaceful and non-stimulating, like knitting, read an enjoyable book, or listening to a soothing music. So engaging in physical activities and relaxation exercise such as yoga or deep breathing can actually reduce your stress level, and it enhances your emotional regulation by promoting relaxation and well-being. And so these are some of the things that you don't want to do. So pause. So one is, don't check emails right before bedtime. Allow at least 2 hours between your last peek at email and bedtime. Don't check social media right before bedtime. Allow at least 2 hours between your last look at social media and bedtime. Don't let your sleep be interrupted by gadgets, so turn off or set up the notifications to prevent your cell phone, tablet, computer, laptop, and any other digital device from interrupting you at least 2 hours before bedtime, so you're not disturbed and have a peaceful transition to your sleep world. So these are all the things that you can do. So technically, if you notice, like poor sleep, it not only fuels weight gain, diabetes, and metabolic breakdown, but it also sabotages your hormones, gut, and damages your heart, creates calcification of coronary arteries. Your muscles don't respond well to glucose. You also lose muscle, like if you don't sleep enough. So these are all the things that can happen if you are not sleeping properly. So as you could see, like we might be thinking, okay, maybe just 1 hour of sleep loss is not a big deal. Or like if we are losing 2 hours of sleep, it's not a big deal. So what you would notice is like even 1 hour sleep loss has huge impact. And when you are able to respect the sleep, it actually takes care of a lot of things. So your skin looks youthful, you're well rested, your aging decreases. Sleep actually affects every part of the organ, like every part of your body. And I know like that may be another class in itself about like how sleep affects different parts of your body. But as you can see that like sleep loss it can hamper your weight loss. So if you're struggling with weight loss, this is one of the pillars that you need to keep in mind. And once you improve your sleep, you would be surprised like how easily you can shed your weight, or like how easy it is to lose pounds. So any other questions? So feel free to type in the chat, like if you have any sleep related questions or anything. And for those of you who are attending this session, uh, if you're looking for more tips to enhance your sleep without use of medications, we are also providing a document for free, which you can download for free, where it also that in that document we have also detailed about how your sleep is affected as you grow. So what you notice is, you have noticed like when you were a child, your sleep needs were different, whereas when you're adult, your sleep needs are different. Same thing like when you once you cross 50 years of age, you would notice that like you are having difficulty in sleeping. So when it comes to sleep, like there are two things. So one is the very act of falling asleep, and the other thing is staying awake or staying asleep for the full night. So these are two different things. And what you would notice is the sleep efficiency decreases as we age. But there are certain things that you can do to improve your sleep efficiency as you age. And for a lot of us, like maybe like this, we can correlate with as we age, our bone health deteriorates, right? But we take care of the bone health as we age. We don't say that like we don't need to take care of the bones. So even as you age, like we tend to say maybe they don't need as much sleep. It's very important that you pay attention to sleep and are getting enough restorative sleep so that you are not experiencing the consequences of lack of sleep. Okay, so any questions? Let us know. And like we are posting the link to the document here, which you can download it from here. And let me show you. So this is the document that you will be getting. Okay, let me just share it briefly. Okay, so this is so you will be able to download this document, like where we have given the effects of sleep and how it is affecting different organs, and also what are the things that you can do with references and everything. So you can actually download this document for free. And we are pasting the link here so that you can download. So okay, so let me see if I can paste the link here. So here we go. So here's the link for you guys to download it. Okay. 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 So if you guys have no further questions, we can. Okay. So I don't see any questions in the chat, and hopefully I didn't. There is one question here. So let me see. It says, if we had a stretch of poor sleep, but now we are sleeping better, can our bodies actually repair the damage that was done, or is it too late? That's a wonderful question. So let's say if you had a stretch of poor sleep previously, but like if you are sleeping better now, definitely like you're letting your body give that repair time. So it's definitely better than not giving enough sleep. Yeah. So yeah, just by so just by giving that sleep time, you're really helping it. Okay, so Thank you, Joanne, for joining. And Connie, good to see you. Okay. Okay, so have a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll see you.